to make sure we're all set. As soon as I see it here, we should be good. I like to check the old YouTube just to be sure. I can't imagine we're going to have that many people watching live because there's too much going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are going to be more concerned about Artemis 2 or whatever.
We're on the moon.
We landed on the moon.
We landed on the moon.
It's great.
I think all of our audience that would actually be watching that are all conspiracy theorists and are just scheming about what really happened the first time.
For sure.
I did a talk a couple weeks ago to that 8th grade class, and I included a Jim Carrey meme from Bruce Almighty.
Yep.
It was like describing what I do. Emails. He's going crazy. And like, I got just no response from the class. I was like, oh, yeah, they're all way too young, aren't they? That one didn't land. I thought it was funny, but they didn't get it.
Sometimes that's all that matters. Did I make myself laugh?
I chuckled. Like, I got to use it. I went home and told my wife, I was like, I got to use the Jim Carrey meme at work today. Like,
And that doesn't happen very often.
right?
No. Most of the stuff we do is like make ourselves laugh, and that's as far as it needs to go.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're set from what I can tell from most places. So let's.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, if that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Okay, we're back in the new studio. It's a little brighter here today, and we weren't here last week because, admittedly, I forgot I had to pick my sister up from the airport. So that was more important. So I dropped her off this morning. It was a good stay with family in town for Easter spring break, and we're back at it now. And Derek isn't here today because he's coaching, and so we're switching to Mondays starting next week for everyone listening, at least for our live broadcast. And so you can still expect to get the podcast on Wednesday morning for your commute. I'll probably have it done Monday night, so you can get it a day earlier. So if you're listening to this week and you wonder why we're not live next week, it's because we will have switched. And since Derek isn't here, Keegan was passing through town. And so he's got his truck and his camper outside. He's helped me fix all the cameras here a little bit and confirm that our lighting isn't terrible.
Yeah, the new studio is a little more conducive to pulling a 30-foot trailer into.
Yeah, the last one's a little tight.
Yeah, and the first one definitely wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I had to took up the whole street.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and just the cat pee basement, as we called it. And we have two guests here from the DNR, Sam Jonas, and Randy Johnson. Which I feel like, is there a famous Randy Johnson?
Baseball player.
Yeah.
Am I getting? I was like, that can't be right. I must have said it wrong. I must be confusing it with someone else.
The left-handed, very tall pitcher from back in the day.
Yeah. Can confirm his salary does not compare.
Correct.
To that, right?
Yeah, probably not. No, you
Not
don't work. I think I've said this at some point. You don't work for the DNR because you want to get rich. You do it for love of the game.
Yep.
You know,
good baseball callback there.
Yeah, and game, wild game, right? No, so thanks for joining. Do you guys want to do your titles? Because I forgot, and yours is too many words.
Yeah, too many words, too many S's. I work for the DNR. I'm in Bureau of Wildlife Management program, and I'm the Wildlife Species Section Supervisor. So what I like to say, how I explain it to sort of someone's like, explain to me what you do. I like to say anything that we hunt or trap, we have statewide staff specialists. Randy's one of them here. We have 7 of those staff, and I supervise them. And they're responsible for setting regulations for, like I said, anything that we hunt or trap. And I used to be cool and work out in the field as a biologist, but now kind of in the policy world and working with our public and get to work with awesome people like Randy.
That's great. I'm not sure how to make that stop. I have myself and do not disturb. But Randy, your title.
I'll jump in.
easier.
Yeah. So Randy Johnson, I'm the large carnivore specialist for Wisconsin DNR. So like Sam said, I'm one of the specialists. I focus on wolf, bear, and the occasional cougar that comes through our state. So anything from management plans to hunting seasons to lots of outreach, education like this. Kind of ultimately like I'm involved where the decisions get made, whether it's decisions on number of permits, licenses, decisions on should we bring the population up or down, monitoring questions, things like that. Like that's we're bringing in together the public input with the science and trying to make decisions. So in a nutshell, that's what I do.
What a hard place to live.
Yeah.
We're not
yeah.
well in the head usually.
Like when they say on the internet, don't read the comments. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
like you guys are
That is a lesson I
punching
learned.
bag of those comments, probably.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah.
you're just people putting your pants on one leg at a time, not trying to get rich doing this. You're trying to do what's right with the information you have.
Yeah, but so are they. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone out there, we're all trying to do our best, and
Mhm.
we want to help, right? And
Mhm.
so we get those comments, and Randy does an incredible job of filtering through that and responding in a professional and constructive way. And we can
Usually.
I'm sure that could be a struggle occasionally.
That's my job. I'm like, give them to me. You go relax. But so and we can maybe get to some of these stories as we have our conversation here. But one of the things I've been most impressed with I work with deer and wolves. Randy's primarily, like you said, large carnivore, so he's focused primarily on the wolf world. But recently we just put together a wolf advisory committee, which is made up of all these people in the public, our stakeholders. We actually have 2 members, we call them at-large members, that aren't affiliated at all with any typical hunting stakeholder groups. And Randy gets them together in a room with completely opposite opinions on what we should do for predator management or wolf seasons in Wisconsin, and gets them at the table and gets to a consensus. I mean, really, he's a public facilitator a lot of the time, to get people, all right, we got to get here. Let's walk through that and work through it together to get there. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like you said, I mean, most people, regardless of where you're at on the spectrum of opinions, most people are coming at it with a valid reason for their opinion. Whether you love wolves or hate wolves, you have some reason for that.
Yeah.
And it's taking it a step beyond I love them or I hate them or I don't care, and getting at the why. And that's ultimately what we try to do, get at the why.
Well,
and then we can have a conversation.
One of our friends who hosts the turkey season podcast on our network, Paul Campbell, he worked for NWTF for a number of years, and now he's working on a nonprofit org that he started called the Turkey Archives, which is a really cool project, by the way, for anyone listening who wants to check it out, and for you guys as well. But he had said, so he went viral on a post that we had done years ago where he was a guest on our podcast. We ripped a clip, million some odd views. He's like, man, I've never experienced this before. He was getting the crap beat out of him in the comments about shooting a jake, like talking about shooting a jake. And his response was one that I'll carry with me forever in all walks of life, let alone just hunting. He had said, I'm not mad about their comments. They're very visceral and they're very strong opinions, but even when they're saying nasty things, he's like, it tells me that they care about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I can find the common ground in our concern for the turkey and the bird, and we can work off of that.
Mm-hmm.
If they're mad about this, it shows that they genuinely care about it. I was like, wow.
No kidding.
What a stoic, like I'm a huge philosopher geek and stoic philosophy. And I was like, man, you taught me a great lesson there. So I got to imagine, to your point, like the why or the common interest is like, if they're voicing their opinions, they care.
Yeah, they're showing up.
And hopefully they recognize that you care too. That's why you chose a profession in it.
Yeah.
You know, like you care arguably more.
Yeah. Dedicate your life to it, right? Yeah. It's interesting. Some of the most interesting conversations are just me listening for 30 minutes while somebody's just unloading. And then you get done and you're like, you don't feel like you've done anything. You haven't answered any questions really. And yet they're like, man, I really want to thank you for listening. I feel, and you almost feel like a therapist sometimes. And so be it.
The wolf therapist.
The wolf therapist.
People want to be heard.
They want to be heard. That's exactly right.
I think I've said this before at some point in the show, but I worked at a call center and I worked in tier 2 or tier 3 support. And by the time a call got to me, I already had downloaded all of the documentation. I already heard what the rep had to say. So by the time the caller got to me, I'd already fixed the problem, put a credit on the account, or done whatever had to be done. So I'm like, yep, it's already done. And they didn't care. They wanted to talk for 15 minutes about the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yep, like I said, it's already fixed. Like we've already done it, 10 minutes ago. And they're like, they just want to be heard. I have to imagine like us, we want to tell our story, share our concern, and make sure that we really are heard, that you heard all of the stuff I had to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to get into a little bit, but like getting into conservation, when I was a kid, it's like, yeah, I want to handle wildlife and be outside and be out in the woods and play. But wildlife management and natural resources, it's not so much species management that we do, it's people management. Unfortunately, or fortunately, 98% of our day is people dealing with the public, public facilitation, meetings, emails, phone calls, all that. We still get to do some fun stuff. A couple weeks ago, I was up north with my head in a bear den, pulling a sow out and putting a collar on her, grabbing her cubs. You talk about
What was your
adrenaline.
adrenaline
Oh my God, it was awesome. It was.
So you can handle any collar,
Yeah.
or any like man, you're not a bear.
Yeah. Well, I remember I was talking to Jen, the lead researcher, and I don't do that every day. I was just up helping, and I'm like, I kind of want to do everything. I want to get in here. And she's like, okay. And she's like, get in there. I'm like, now? It's good. She's sleeping. You know, we dart the bear, obviously.
Did it hit her?
Yeah, right. So she's down, and I'm climbing in there and getting ready. All big tough guy. You know, I'm gonna be able to grab the cubs and yank them out and pull the sow out. And this other researcher woman who was there, I'm bending down, getting ready to go in the hole, and she grabs me on the back, and I'm just like, "What? You know, don't do that." And she's like, just in case. She goes, "Kick hard if you need to get pulled out." I'm like, okay, here we go. And
I'm sure I'll be doing something
yeah,
to get out of here if the situation goes.
but everything went perfect. And but so anyway, we get to do some fun stuff with wildlife yet, but it is a lot of people work.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
So let's talk about the conservation component, because I don't even know that my working definition of it makes any sense to how you guys think about it and what it actually means. And I've heard people say things like hunting is conservation or hunting is not conservation, because it's not enough to just buy a tag. You should be doing more. What does that look like?
Yeah.
So I don't know what school of thought makes more sense, or how you can navigate, you know, kind of connect those two narratives. But
yeah, sure. You can share your opinion, and then I can
Sure.
go off
So,
that.
I mean, the term conservation, I think, is defined as wise use of a resource, wise use. So, you know, obviously that can be, you know, applied in different ways too, right? But in its most like utilitarian view, it is hunting, right? Wise use would be harvesting an animal and using it for whatever purpose. But in other contexts, conservation is more of the wise part, I think, of being conservative or being careful, or, you know, kind of prioritizing the resource over the use of the resource. So yeah, to me, it is kind of a broad term, right? And with wolves in particular, because you've got so many other kind of values and opinions at the table, we're very careful to use the term conserve or conservation of wolves with management of wolves and even stewardship of wolves. Like on paper, those three terms are pretty similarly defined, but they each carry different like connotations, meanings. You know, which one are you prioritizing, the use of the resource or the resource? And it kind of depends on the context, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, conservation too. The department's funding model is based on user-based pay, right? So conservation can be not just the use of the resource through management, but it can be done through habitat management, habitat conservation, restoring wetlands, bringing wildlife back to areas where they've been extirpated in the past. And so how do we pay for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hunters do, by purchasing their licenses. And so, you know, nationwide, we're seeing a decline in hunter numbers. It's not unique to Wisconsin. But when you have a funding model that's based to user-based pay, you have to buy a license to fund conservation work, and those numbers go down and inflation goes up. I mean, it's a pretty simple equation to, we have less money and it's more expensive to do the work. So that's sort of where we're at right now. We're rubber's kind of meeting the road on where state agencies are at with our funding. And right now, the DNR specific to Wisconsin is facing some pretty significant budget shortfalls, primarily in our fish and wildlife account. We're primarily funded, 95% of our funding, and this is a misunderstanding that a lot of people have, is that it's tax-based pay for our salaries. Rainey and I, we're paid for by deer hunters. Their licensed dollars fund our salaries primarily. So 95% of our funding comes from state license and stamps. And then the other half comes from Pittman-Robertson funding, which is federal funding, which is a state or a federal excise tax on guns and ammunition. So those dollars are going down as well across the country, and so the states get allocated a percentage of that federal funding based on how much public land we have, and then how many licenses we have in the state. And so that number is going down. State licenses are going down. We have not had a fee increase for paying for your deer license in 21 years. 2005, I think, was the last time we had an increase in pay there. And then our inflation
That's crazy.
our inflation since that time is up 71%. So
How are you living?
and that's what we're talking about now, is we're actually having to make some cuts to things that we're doing. We have a pheasant stocking program, very popular in the southern part of the state here in Wisconsin. We usually stock, the last few years have been around 75,000 birds. We're no longer going to be able to fund up to that level anymore. We're talking about dropping down 65,000, potentially more into the future, laying off some of our limited term employees, so 24 and a half LTE positions, which are 6-month positions.
What
So
does LTE stand for?
limited term
term,
employee.
okay.
Yep. So they're primarily the ones that are out of college, get their foot in the door, and want to get into conservation, and do a lot of our habitat work, working tractors.
So this isn't an episode about recruiting new talent into the but I wanted to say something because the way you talked about wise use of the land, like how did you say it? You said like wise use being conservation of land versus like conserving the land, or it felt like a deposit versus a withdrawal.
Right. Like which of
I
those
need
two
to
are you
put
emphasizing?
a lot in the bank, but I need to be careful about the withdrawals which is a whole different conversation. But like if I withdraw too much, like now I depleted
Right.
the resource. Just the way you had said that, I haven't heard it said that way before, and that felt like a really like aha moment for me. Like
I
these
like that.
deposits and withdrawals of like how do we put more into the bank account of conservation, and maybe like literally monetarily speaking.
It could be literally
But
monetarily.
also, like, how do we do more good? So for us, we volunteer through Waukesha County Land Conservancy, which private land with public access. It's not just open public ground like you guys have, but it is something that like we get to go work the land, bring our kids, do good, and like it's very locale to where we are, Waukesha County.
Yep.
And then we donate our 1% of our revenue, our top line revenue, to that same org every year, which it's been getting better for them every year.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So like it's a bigger number. It's not a huge number by any stretch, but like we're time and money.
Yeah.
We're giving back and trying to at least.
We have, DNR is full of like citizen science is the buzzword, but opportunities to volunteer, collect data, run surveys, contribute time. Literally just one of the most useful things we have in my program is it's called our wildlife observation tool. And anybody who gets a picture of a bear, a wolf, or a cougar, as well as like we've got elk and white deer, there's like basically rare species. If you get a picture, you can literally submit it through the tool, and it might seem pretty small, but it's our primary way of specifically monitoring cougar populations, as well as any wandering bear or wolf that heads down in this country.
There was a bear down the road here not that long ago, like last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Someone sent me a picture, like right down the road. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We may have been wandering, but I don't know what that is.
But most likely, right? But it makes big waves when it's in an area like this where you're not expecting to see it. And that little contribution, somebody sending that picture ends up with me. And then when the news calls, I know about it and I can speak about it, with some level of knowledge. So that's just an easy contribution to conservation right there.
Where do people send those to? Like, what's the easiest way to do it? I've never.
Go on the DNR website, look up wildlife observation, or if you just go to the cougar page, the bear page, any of those pages, there's a little submit an observation on the side.
I wonder how many people do that. Is it pretty regular? You get that update?
I would say we get like several observations a day across all the species.
Is it trail cam or like my photo?
A lot of trail cams. I would say trail cams, home security, and then just as often, maybe the most often is, hey, I saw something. I didn't get a picture, but this is what it is, right?
And it was a cougar because I have a golden retriever. And it's bigger than that.
Right.
And then, by the way, here's your house cat.
Right.
But
yeah.
Never say never. We do have cougars in Wisconsin. That's a fact.
We do.
But,
they come through.
Yeah. There's lots of ways to get involved. Like I said, you don't have to pay monetarily to contribute to conservation. we have birders, people that just want to go out sightseeing in our wildlife areas, that want to hike. They don't have to pay to use that property, but one way you could give back, you could purchase say you want to go out and look at waterfall, you could purchase a waterfall stamp, which is earmarked statutorily to go towards waterfall conservation work. So there's ways to contribute, even if you don't want to utilize that stamp or license.
Sam Soul did the Stamp It Forward
Yeah,
initiative.
He's a
which,
huge on that every year.
like, there's not a lot of influencers that I think have. I mean, they'll have influence in some capacity. I'm not going to go all Matt Renault and say the influencers are bad per se, but of the ones that do like tangible good, Sam Soholt with his Stamp It Forward initiative or campaign that he does, where he encourages people to just go buy stamps.
Yep.
Whether or not you're hunting, go buy the
Yep.
stamps.
Yep.
So pay it forward, stamp it forward. But he's raised a lot of dollars. He gives it all back.
Yeah.
The stamps are like
It's a
literally
really neat
the
thing.
best thing you can buy. Like
For sure.
I mean, $25 duck stamp is whatever 23 and change that goes
Yeah.
directly to waterfowl conservation,
Yep.
and more specifically wetland conservation.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and then there's also so I was a wildlife biologist, actually in Iron County for quite a few years, and then Jefferson County as well. And so a lot of my work was public land work, and we would
Mhm.
work with adopted wildlife area groups.
Yeah.
And so those are I had Waterfowl Association for a partner group for mine, and
Oh, cool.
you could just volunteer with them, and we would do one weekend we put together a boardwalk through a wildlife area to just cross a ditch or something. If you don't have money, everybody has time, right? So you can contribute your time to conservation and give back what you take out. Yeah, I always say try and put twice in one thing that you take out. One way you can do that is contribute to time and volunteer.
So there's a number, like I'm assuming on the site there's some sort of volunteer thing where you could find a lot of
Yep.
things in your locale to go
Yeah,
put your time in.
everything. Just go to our DNR website and type in. We're kind of keyword search based website,
Yeah.
so you can just type in volunteer or adopt a wildlife area.
Lots of friends groups too, right?
Yep.
I mean, lots of friend groups on the different
Okay.
properties and different things. So yeah, there's opportunities out there for sure.
You're a big wildlife, wildlife photog media is your handle, but I've noticed there's a lot of waterfall content.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I got my like roots in photography, videography over like around the country. So that's kind of like my home and kind of where I just focus a lot of my time. Obviously, it's a huge passion. I grew up in Sturgeon Bay, so we had great duck and goose hunting growing up, and early goose season was like what we lived for. And then when I started traveling, I spent 2 years in Kansas with an outfitter, a year in Arkansas with an outfitter, and you bring up the duck stamps. There's a huge movement in the waterfowl space to like similar to Sam, and I think a lot of it started from Sam pushing that, but companies are offering duck stamps with purchases or giving away duck stamps. And like every state I go to, I buy a duck stamp there. Just as I also buy a license in every state just so I don't accidentally get in trouble by a federal game warden. But, I'm not hunting most of the time. I'm just filming, but it's that extra duck stamp, then I spend $200 a year. At least that my $200 went somewhere that I know, like, here it is.
Yep.
You said it was earmarked.
Yeah, it's earmarked. Yep.
And so I'm a deer hunter mostly. Like that's the thing I seem to do the most. I have duck hunted, but I don't do it. So I'd like to think I'm participating in conservation.
You are.
100%.
I just wonder what's that spectrum or what's that threshold? Like how can I over-index on conservation? Like what's the most meaningful thing we can do as hunters and anglers and outdoorsmen and women to really have that impact? When you talk about dwindling numbers, inflation going up, it seems like you're getting squished. How do we alleviate that pressure? Like, what do you guys think?
I wish there was a silver bullet to that
There's
answer.
different levers. There might be some.
There's lots.
levers.
There's lots of different levers. I mean, we talked a little bit about this earlier before we turned this on, but like our R3 campaign, recruit, reactivate, retain, pass it down, bring someone to hunt, get them out in the field, get them experience, get them involved that way. So yeah, passing it down and reactivating people, find some friends who are a little bit older that are just uncomfortable with the barriers of hunting and extend an invitation, just come on out. That would help for sure. Buying a license, helps. That obviously goes towards earmarked funds for conservation. It
What
does
do you think about
lots of other things too.
Is it called like the conservation license or like the one where the sportsman's
Conservation
license?
patron.
And about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yep.
in context what you're saying? I'm just curious about
Sure.
it personally.
So the patron's license, I think it's $165, and the idea is it's a bundle package, right? So it's
like
pretty much
Spectrum Internet.
yeah,
Stop trying to
exactly.
sell me the phone. I don't want it.
We do not have discounts though as new members, but so yeah, it basically gives you a license to hunt all of our game species for the most part in Wisconsin, and then it's divvied out based on which species that you buy for what that money for the most part is going to go to. As an example, $2 of that is earmarked towards our damage fund. So I also supervise our wildlife damage nuisance program for the state.
Oh, okay.
And so if a deer eats a farmer's crop over $1,000 and they enroll in our damage program, they're entitled for compensation up to $10,000. So how do you pay for that, right? Deer hunters are paying for that.
Mhm.
$2 of every license goes towards that. Plus, I think it's $8 of every bonus deer tag funds that program as well. So Randy's expensive wolves, if they eat, Farmer Joe's cow or something, we pay for that too. And Wisconsin is incredibly unique with that. I believe we're the only state in the country that has a depredation program that funds farmers and producers for damage that wildlife creates. So,
And it's that program that allows, like, I could say, hey, can I come shoot some deer on your
exactly.
farm? And they can give me those tags, or
Yep.
I've never actually done it, but I think some friends have, and they have great things to say about it.
Yep. Yeah. So we believe that because deer hunters are paying for that program, if we're compensating farmers for that, they need to open up their property for public hunting access. You're telling us you have too many deer, you have a problem, right? Well, we'll pay. We have a solution. We have an orange army that can help you out. There's ways that farmers and producers don't need to open up their land to public hunting, but they don't get compensated. They can get nuisance permits. They can have someone act on those permits, but they're not required to, right? So they could fill those nuisance permits with themselves, their son, their daughter, brother, whatever, as long as they are following the rules. Or if you're just a friend that they know, you could do it too.
Sure.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yep. The original question, how do you overextend?
Yeah, how do you over index? Like what are some of the more impactful things we can do to alleviate some of the pressure you're talking about?
Well, a lot of the financial stuff that I'm talking about is controlled at the legislature. If I could fix the problem, we would have. But that's creating new state laws, and so we can't do that. We don't lobby. We don't talk to legislators, but other people can. So that would be helpful. Contact your local legislator. Let them know what you're concerned about, what you would like to see happen. Just get educated, I would say.
We just did an episode, like 3, 4, I don't know, within the last month or two about the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program funding. I was very enlightened and didn't realize half of what is going on there was happening. I think we have an ability, at least because I was like, I know a lot of our listeners aren't necessarily from here per se. A lot of them are, but we reach a lot of different parts of the country. And my big question was like, can other people from different states have an impact here? And the answer was yes. I didn't realize that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I have to imagine for anybody that's not in Wisconsin, most of the stuff is like, what are you guys talking about? But there's changes across Department of Natural Resources everywhere. Like Michigan's got some stuff. Is it Michigan right now that's talking about like one buck tag or?
Yep.
So then I imagine there's a lot of studying other states to see how their programs are going. Like, what can we share in this data? What have we learned? What can we take from your program or avoid because we don't want to touch that landmine? Like, I don't know which states you look at as maybe some you're looking up to and some I don't want to say looking down to, but like opportunities versus challenges, probably better, more politically correct way to say that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I just got back from our North American Wildlife Conference, and that was awesome to go to. Is in Columbus, Ohio, and that's where all the directors from all the agencies around the country go and present and share exactly that, lessons learned, opportunities, areas to grow, all that stuff. And I actually presented on, we're doing some beaver management planning work, and I talked about our public process and how we're creating our new beaver management plan for Wisconsin. And Colorado was in the room and gave an update on kind of where they're at. Well, because they didn't bring in on the front end a lot of their management decisions of, I would call environmental groups, sort of the non-traditional, not the hook and bullet kind of crowd, they developed a negative taste towards trapping fur bears out west Colorado.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And so they were not brought in on the front end of the process and went around the back end and got some laws changed. And so now Colorado is limited to the amount of or the type of traps they can use, and also bag limits on fur bear species throughout the entire state. So beaver, I mean, they're a rodent, right? And they create infrastructure issues by flooding and all sorts of problems, flooding out farms, roads, town roads, culverts. So you need to remove them in certain areas. Other areas, yes, they're great to have, and we would promote them. But because of people and not involving them, they were able to get some legislation changes and remove trap type, limit opportunity, create bag limits for a species that does not need to be regulated to that level. So that was a moment of like, yeah, we've got some issues here, but I'm glad I don't have that issue right now.
There was a story, I forget, it's actually like within the last year at least, of a beaver. There's some city out east, I think, that was trying to get a dam, like a permit to build a dam. And they couldn't get through the red tape bureaucracy regulations to get a dam built. And a freaking beaver came along and literally built a dam. They're like, oh my God, he just saved us like $1 billion.
Yeah.
This
Nature's
one
engineer.
beaver made a dam in the exact spot.
Yep.
Like, can't make this up. It was quite comical. It was like a national news headline.
Yep.
And I just thought it was so funny. And then this movie Hoppers comes out
Yep.
from Disney about beavers.
Saw that with my son. Pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was
It's on
fun.
our watch list.
I have
It's
little
on our
kids,
watch list.
so, yeah, I saw 2 beavers in the Oconomowoc River deer hunt 2-3 years ago on my way out, and I was like, I thought it was a muskrat or something. I was like, freaking beavers, huge!
Mhm.
I didn't realize how big they were.
They're big.
They get large, like
Mhm.
wow.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we do have a trapping podcast on our network. It's called The Okayest Trapper. It's a really great podcast. I mean, the numbers bear it because it's like one of our top ranking shows. And Zach Hansen, he's written a book called Turning Feral. So it's basically like packed up his white picket fence AI tech life and moved to the mountains to become a trapper
Good for
in
him.
some aspects. Like he's still doing some of that
Yeah.
stuff as a consultant and so forth and working, but really great story to go from like adult onset to like full blown trapping, tanning hides, doing all this stuff. He's helping a lot of the colleges, some of their studies by doing some trapping, like really neat
Mhm.
show. So I'm very intrigued by trapping, but I recognize I do not have I'm not in the season of life where that's a possibility for me.
Yeah, and I'm not a trapper either. I mean, the fact that I'm even here talking about trapping blows my mind. Like, I was just a kid in a small town not far from here. I grew up in Waterloo, Wisconsin, and this comes back to beaver. I was really good friends with her name was Brady Killian, and we were young, and she lived down the block. And back then, we could still, drink from the garden hose and go play until
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah. The good days.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
But-
the start of a country western song.
so anyway, I was over there playing with her and a couple other friends, and her dad came home from work, and he was all full of mud, and I was probably 10. So what'd you do today for work? And he's like, oh, I blew up a beaver dam. I'm like, for work? Like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I work for the DNR. I'm a wildlife biologist. And back then, they would give biologists sticks of dynamite and blow up beaver dams because they were flooding
Mhm.
whatever. And the rest was history. I took off from there and started volunteering as a kid on fire lines and
Like, dude, I get to
squirt
play with
guns.
dynamite.
Yeah, banning geese. And so that's really kind of what tripped my trigger. And now we hear talking about trapping beaver and you name it. But
So does this mean that you've implemented tannerite in the new beaver management for the state of Wisconsin?
we did not. We
We
did
could take
not.
that suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's really effective, in case anybody's wondering.
I'm sure that it is. But I don't know if you have any suggestions or, I don't know, overextending into conservation.
Yeah, I was just kind of listening to the conversation, and I think you were touching on, the popularity of that podcast. I think what people are gravitating to is like this idea of, wait, that's what trapping's about? Like this connection to the land, this, reset, if you will, the mental health that comes with it. And that's not just trapping, it's spending time outside, right? And so to the question, that's kind of where my mind went, was most people, and I'm probably biased because in my arena, if you will, carnivores are lightning rod. People love it or hate it. Most of them have an opinion, whereas like general hunting, people are kind of uninformed or unopinionated sometimes.
It's crazy
Like-
what you can learn. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just the idea of, if we're going to promote conservation, promote hunting, there's so many people out there that are just on the fence. Their perception of the activity is what they saw on TV once, which was a bunch of rednecks, shooting stuff. And like, that's not what we're talking about. And so any chance you can, take 5 minutes to just share what you do, why you do it, and the good that comes with it, I think paints hunting in a much better light and probably helps generate some of that like political support for it.
Well, there's factions, not in a negative way, but there's factions within the hunting community. So we talk about, like, you were on a podcast about dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So hounds used to hunt bears.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a deer hunter the other day. He's like, yeah, I don't get down with all that hounds chase and stuff, man. It's weird. I don't get it. It seems reckless and in danger. And I was like, well, actually, I learned this, and I'm happy to share it with you, that they're using hounds to track down the bear so they can identify the bear or the cougar or the cat in terms of like the gender, the maturity. Because like you can't shoot certain bears, or you ought not to. I don't know all that because I haven't done it, but it's like, oh, we're going to call the dogs off, that we're not shooting that one, and then they back off. I was like, I did not know that information. Like it's actually more ethical than to use dogs.
We actually see that in the data too. The harvested bears in Wisconsin that are, bait versus by dogs. The dogs tend to be the older males. Like there is a distinct difference in the data, and it's for that reason. They've got the time and ability to kind of scope it out, and those people are doing it year after year, so they get very good at what they're doing.
Well, so if everybody could be more like Ted Lasso and be curious, not judgmental, and if we could, whatever that quote is that he used when playing darts, it's like this epic scene. If we could just be curious, not like, oh, I'm not F you dog guys, but you're a hunter, like you should know better to like peek behind the curtain a little bit, open the book, like read a couple more things than just the headline and try to understand it. Like, because you get judged all the time for the things you do. You should recognize trapping, same. There's all these negative content. It's going to hurt the animal. It's like, no, the traps nowadays don't do that. This isn't, even though it's a very much getting in the DeLorean, going back in time and doing something ancient. We're not using these ancient archaic tools anymore. Like foothold traps, whatever they're called. Like it's quite
dog-proof traps.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I would say, we have some of our biggest critics. We work hard to get them curious, right? And so, Randy, I think you've been out on some running hounds on bears with some of our biggest critics. Like, all right, come on out. Like, come take a look, come learn.
Invite them out. That's the best thing you can do.
And they do, and some of them take it up, and then they become an ally. So
that education tool is unbelievably powerful.
That's what the Nelson Knowles guy had said. He had said, because he's lobbying at the Capitol, and he's talking to lawmakers, and they'll question something. He's like, "Let's go for a walk. I'll show you." And he's like, "I just invite them into nature." I was like, they're not afraid like you're going to kill them. Hey, let's go for a walk in nature. I feel like
it's the Capitol. There's not that much nature.
Well, Madison, there's a lot that sprawls out pretty quick. You get into some trout streams and some easements and all that stuff. It's kind of, but that is the way. It's like, let me just go show you, or let's have a conversation. I talk about a gal that stopped me when I was putting a canoe in the Oconomowoc River, and she's like, she was really heated. You could tell, like, she was. When you get that adrenaline that you had when the bear, like you could tell she was getting confrontational adrenaline, and her voice was shaky, but she felt very fervent about calling me out. Like, are you just going to go maim animals and drink beer? I was like, whoa. No,
not at the same time.
I was like, no, like, why do you think that? I'm really curious. Like, where did you think that that's what's happening? Like, maybe you did see someone doing that, and then you just think we're all that. I ended up converting her to a subscriber of our channel. I was like, you can see what I do. I have kids. Like, I'm not trying to do that. She's like, you're trespassing. I was like, I'm not sure. This is an easement. I'm going to go where the public land is. Like, I'm not hunting in your backyard. It's okay. So she had a lot of concerns and questions. I answered them, took the time, which was a problem because I was trying to get to the damn stand. 35 minutes to talk to this lady, and like by the end of the conversation, I think we had a believer and someone who I was able to not just get back combative with her and be like, you lady, because that is a route I could have taken, and I think a lot of people would. Because it just gets escalated quickly.
I tell myself a lot when we get those calls too. People are heated, never even met me, and they're mad about something, and just constantly playing my head, respond, don't react, because if we react, to their reaction, you're not getting
It
anywhere.
gets back
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Or could.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's times like you can't be perfect every time. There's going to be times you're like, you
No.
know what? Like,
No, I'm perfect.
Because you could be having a bad day. Like maybe your kid peeped on you on the way out the door. Your wife's yelling. Like these are things that happen. You know,
Yep.
like suddenly your day is all weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I often think about that the other way too. Is like, I don't know what's going on in their world, but they're very angry right now. Like there might be other things. Yeah, there might be other things at play here beyond just
clearly
what they're telling
taking
me
out
about.
your stuff on me, and this is not even about what we're
Mhm.
talking about. Like, what happened to you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Did
Like
we
Randy
talk
said,
about something else?
therapist sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It can be.
So we kind of talked a little bit about ahead of the show before we hit the record button, a little bit of the R3 stuff and the diminishing numbers. And you'd gone to this, national convention. I brought up Matt Ranella only because I don't want to start a fight with Matt Ranella. That's not the point.
Yeah, don't do that.
But the point is, influencer bad, R3 bad. We don't need new hunters. We need less. And I don't know how much of that's coming from his own like proxy of my areas are now crowded because of people like the hunting public or hush into the people that he picks on. I don't know how we have not got picked on yet, so we must not be big enough. We're also like, you're probably not trying to hunt the spot that the okayest hunters hunt. Or the opposite of spot burning.
Yeah.
Those guys hunted it. Not even going to bother. I just don't, when I look at the numbers, because it's all public information, I can go to the DNR's website. I can download last year's data, or if it's ready, whatever the report looks like. And even now with AI and all this, like AI is pretty good with the math stuff. It's black and white. So it can run some pretty good equations as an analyst. And it's not hard to see that the license purchases are going down. So I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but where I live, there's less of us. And that feels like a problem.
Yeah. There's sort of two things, right? So there's that, just hunters in general. There's also sort of the Hatfield and McCoy situation of you're an out-of-stater. I don't want you here, and so the state license licenses might be going down, but the out-of-staters are still coming, right? Stay away from my property. And that's not the view that the state has. It's a public resource. We aren't defined by
Like
state lines. You want to pay for, access, so be it, have at it. And so there's this concept or theory or thought, and you hit on it, that we don't need R3, we don't need new hunters. It's already saturated. We already have too many people on our public lands. And so at this conference that I went to, the guy by the name of Dr. Bob Holzman, he used to work for the department, but now he works for I'm going to botch the name, but some consulting firm where he does human dimension survey work. And so they did a nationwide poll, essentially, of what are the limiting factors that are preventing people from getting into hunting. Why are they leaving? And a lot of the reason they're leaving, especially in Wisconsin, is they're aging out, for one, but also we're seeing the cohort of younger hunters are not increasing substantially either. It's sort of just kind of stagnant, and then they peter out. They become middle-aged like us and have families and get busy, and just kind of lose that interest. And so they looked at, why is that? And that's across the nation. Is it cost? Are the licenses too expensive out west? No, people are still paying for them. Is it the wait time? Are they willing to wait 10 years for an elk permit in some special unit
or more?
No, what they're doing is they'll buy it they know in 10 years they might be able to draw, but then they'll go hunt out in New York, Wyoming, wherever else, and then they'll just wait. They'll hunt around. So no, that's not a limiting factor. Do people feel generally that these lands are saturated with hunting? I'm not going to go because I know someone else is going to be there. And the responses to that survey work that Dr. Holzman did was, no, that's not true. So all the theories of, it's all saturated and we don't need new hunters was pretty much proven wrong with this research. And now we got to figure out, still why are they losing interest? And I personally feel it's just a cultural thing, a generational thing. I mean, when World War II ended, we had the baby boomer era, and just the culture at that time was everyone's going outside and going to go get food and subsistence and go hunting. And that culture there developed, especially in Wisconsin. I mean, we had up to 800,000 deer hunters at one time. Now we're down to around 600,000. I referred to the Orange Army back then. It's not even so much an Orange Army anymore. We don't have the big deer drives we used to.
Mhm.
People are converting from gun hunting to crossbow hunting. They can go earlier in the year. They can hunt the rut. And so our harvest is remaining relatively stable. But what we're seeing is a shift of when those deer are harvested is shifting. So it used to be opening day of the gun season was like, it still is the primary driver in the overall harvest, but it's becoming less important than it ever has because people are hunting earlier in the year when it's warmer and nicer and more buck activity during the rut. So
I mean,
kind
you
of-
see a lot of the, like, even the deer camps of old, like my family's deer camp up in Ashland County, like our whole generation, like everybody's dead.
Yep.
And now it's just a couple cousins and
Morbid.
but that's
call
what
it-
happened.
we call it aging out.
And everybody that I talked to that had camps up there, the neighbors or people all over the state, like their deer camps just kind of dissolved and a couple people lost interest. Now it's not the same anymore. And then pretty soon it's just like two guys there.
That's
and
what
then
it is.
They don't go. And
I'll extrapolate
You
that
know.
throughout the country. That's what's happening.
when you brought up the generation, like that's what made me think about it. Like the families that were involved in generational hunting.
Yep.
Like we have a logbook, and on our logbook of each one, there's probably 7 over the years. Every day got written in, and each one of them says deer hunting is a family affair.
Mhm.
And like that's how I've always lived, but now I'm not seeing that anymore. You know, my dad and I still deer hunt together, but other than that,
Yep.
you know, I don't hunt with any of my family anymore, which is wild to watch.
Yeah, the tradition of it is like, I don't know. I think kids have different interests, and it's not even just technology. I think that's a component, but kids are busier than ever.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what the fastest growing industry is right now in our country? Other than the healthcare industry that's propping up the economy, is youth sports.
Mhm.
There's a youth sports app that's got more downloads than all the AI platforms that exist right now, because like some kids are in multiple, and they're in like these traveling groups. So the schedule of the modern day child
Mhm.
is so they're in extracurriculars, they're in these AP programs, they're doing all these things at school, and then afterwards they have all the sports. And when you do that, all your weekends are consumed: football, basketball, soccer, I don't know, all of these different, baseball, so forth. So you have that in addition to tech. Modern families are really busy. Both parents are working. The economy is tight. We need
Yep.
money. Mom better get a job. Dad better get a job. Get another job. Get a side hustle, like sort of podcast studio.
Yep. Yeah.
Suddenly, the time thing is really different.
Yep.
And so I think it's very multifaceted.
Yep.
It's not just the influencers are bringing more people. That's probably a component too. But geez, I feel like if we could make it feel like the thing to do. I also believe there's a macro trend of this pendulum that's going to swing where analog things are coming back in, like having a sitting room in your home without a TV, getting a corded phone or an analog phone, getting a Polaroid camera, like take up trapping, take up bowyer making. The reason we have these shows on our network, they're becoming increasingly popular because we want to go backwards right now. Like, go get a journal. Field and Stream brought their journal back to life. I helped with that campaign a couple of years ago at my job. Like, that was a really cool thing. And it's a really well put together, it's a magazine, but don't let them hear me call it a magazine. It's a journal. Thick pages, really tactile, really large print thing. Like, we want to sit and consume something on paper. So I think we might see in the near future, in the next 10 years, a little bit of a resurgence back to the outdoors, to things like hunting, trapping, traditional archery. The crossbow one is interesting. We just actually talked about that, I think, in the last episode. But I forgot to think about, so one of my clients was one of the premier crossbow companies. They're in northern Michigan or northern Minnesota. The demographic data that we learned about, it was way, way harder to try to sell a crossbow to a vertical compound hunter to get them to convert over to crossbow. It was really easy to sell to a gun hunter to extend that season forward, to your point. So that data checks out of my mind, because we could beat that drum all day and just drum up sales.
Yep.
And then we're right next to Whaletail here. Like, the number one bows that sell in archery shops, the growing category is crossbows. And I think it's because the gun hunters, it's not because the archery people are coming into it. They're still like, no,
Yeah, no,
I
they're
don't want that. And I'm
high ego, prideful hunters.
But the ones that are like, I don't know, like this is basically a gun. I can go shoot a deer earlier. This is great.
I have
Like,
several friends just in the last few
very much
years
a
that are
second
like
rifle.
wanting to get into it, and the easy choice
an
is go
entry
get a
point
crossbow.
thing. Yeah.
Easy point.
I'm a converter. I'm a vertical bow guy to crossbow, and it took one hunting. My dad was bugging me about it for years. I'm probably gonna get crap for this, and I do. It's okay.
At least you're being honest.
It's
We can
okay.
appreciate
I'll
the honesty.
stand on it. I had been fighting for years. Same thing. I had ego. I'm like, nah, I'm a real bow hunter, you know. And my dad was like, what the hell are you doing? You're gonna wound it, you know, be precise, precision, accuracy. I'm like, matters where you hit it. I can do it plenty fine with a vertical bow. And one year, sure enough, I shot one my vertical bow in a bad spot and wounded it and never recovered it. And I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? I'm out here. I want to kill. I want to get meat. And if there's a tool out there that can get me that, I'm going to do it. It also helped that my son was 5 at the time, and I knew I wanted to get him into hunting pretty much as soon as I thought he'd be ready. And he's 7 now, and I took him out last fall, and he shot a nubber, and then 2 weeks later he got a 6-pointer. So
Oh yeah.
Heck
and
yeah.
that's mounted on the wall, baby. I said,
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I said, first one you get, it's going up. But go ask Papa if he wants to pay for it for your birthday. So
Yeah, I work for the DNR, son.
Yeah. Grandpa helped out with that one. So
That's awesome.
that's on. But that's really cool because he's got it mounted in his room, and I've got my first buck mounted in there, and they're looking at each other. So
So it's probably
crossbows
not that
would not have given me, or if we didn't have crossbows, I wouldn't have that story.
So it's probably not that. Well, I guess you would, because if you're a gun hunter and you're buying a crossbow to move that season up for you, theoretically, you're still going to take your boomstick out in gun season too.
I do.
So
Yep.
do you think that's having an impact on the herd in any major way?
We're
Or
not
really, 'cause
seeing that in the data. Normally, we have what I call the freezer effect. For the most part, people want venison for their freezer when they go hunting.
once they get it, they're kind of
Majority of our hunting public, they shoot one and they're done. They get their freezer
Really?
filled. Yeah. Not us. I'm still out,
Yeah.
I'm still out there. But the majority of our Wisconsinites, at least our hunters, one and done.
You can give them tags, you can give them opportunity, you can give them everything they need, but it's one.
Yeah.
They just fill one tag.
We have areas, we have counties, DMUs that basically limitless antlerless tags.
I mean, Door
and-
County
yeah,
has been that way
exactly.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys caused quite the scene up in Door County when I think you recommended a antlerless only season. You
Oh,
wanted
that
to remove antlered harvest.
whenever anybody talks to me, because I'm all over the country, and they talk about whitetail hunting in Wisconsin, and I'm like, there are so many deer there. We almost had an antlerless only season.
Yep.
And everybody's like, that there's no way that's real. And I'm like,
That's
yeah,
real.
I sat in the meeting. It's very real.
Yeah. And I'm working not to get into politics, but they're out of Door County. It reminded me we have what's called a deer donation program
Okay.
to try and promote more antlerless harvest. You don't want to fill your freezer, donate the deer. What are ways that we can encourage people to do it? We pay processors money. That's another thing that
Oh.
deer hunters contribute towards is this deer donation program. Actually, the Governor Evers, the month of November, declared that venison donation month.
Really?
Yeah, and if you remember back when the federal
When did
government
he do that?
Sure.
Is
this year,
okay.
November,
Okay.
made a proclamation of
I've missed that. I didn't. actually
they're
know that.
not very, it's easy to miss. I'm proud of it because we had an LTE staff limited term employee that I supervised that sort of led that initiative, and because of him, college kid led this initiative and pushed this program and
Yeah,
all the way to
that's
the
super
governor's
cool.
office. But anyway, we donated, I just looked at the numbers, we donated around 67,000 pounds of venison to feed, they go to food pantries.
Yeah.
One of the requirements of the program is that it does have to get CWD tested. So, you're eating
Clean.
disease-free
Yeah.
meat, but it all gets ground into burger.
That's awesome.
But yeah, if you remember back in November when the federal government shut down, the big talk was like food stamps, and that program was
Yeah,
shut down.
yeah,
And
you're
so
right.
that's why the governor
Oh,
come to the state,
interesting.
go
I
get your
actually
free
donated
venison.
venison to people when that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I have a freezer full of a lot of meat,
Mhm.
and I feel like if someone wants it and needs it,
To-
and a few people raised their hand, and I went and drove and met people and gave them bags of venison. So it was quite interesting.
And to me, that's like what Randy was saying, like wise use of the resource, like
Mhm.
help people.
Mhm.
I have venison. I might not have time, I might not have money, but
Mhm.
you're hungry, I got meat, here you go.
I ended up with 3 deer in the freezer this fall, and when I shot that third one, I don't say I felt bad, but there was a part of me that was
Felt
like,
greedy.
do I need like more sticks versus I could go donate this? There's a locker just up the road. So I went and donated that. That's the first time I've ever done it. And it was a super slick process. Just called them and they're like, yep, just bring it off, whatever, fill out the logbook. And they took care of the testing. They hung it up. I think they had like 7 or 8 of them there that time. So it was cool. And and it was also a relief. Like there's one less I actually have to process too. That was pretty slick.
Process your own.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I suppose you guys know your way around a deer pretty well.
I like to
Big
think
game.
Careful
so.
what you assume.
Oh, man.
We are on the okayest hunter podcast.
Yeah. I did process. You know, that's another thing. Like I've heard people say, like, you're not a real hunter if you don't process your deer. I'm like, what the shit? I mean, like, pick something, man. Come on. Like, no.
Have you ever heard the term "work smarter, not harder"?
I-
There's
like-
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I did
For
process my own deer
$80.
once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the most painful thing you've witnessed? Put a knife in my hand and watch me break down a deer. You know how long that took me to do?
Yeah.
And it wasn't pretty. It didn't go as well as it's supposed to
Yep.
go.
Mhm.
It turns out I don't understand the anatomy of a deer that well.
Yeah. That's another shortage that we're happening too. Is processors are dropping off. There's
Mhm.
fewer and fewer people that are willing to butcher deer. And I am seeing a shift in people are becoming less willing to drive as far as they have to now because their local processor dropped out or quit or retired or whatever.
If
and
that
learning to
resource goes
process their own
away,
meat.
I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do?
Be
'Cause
ready.
I'm not efficient with it, so it takes me a while to.
Be ready.
That's
Like-
across the whole country
Yep.
too. I mean, we see that in Montana. Like we drove 4 hours with an elk one day because all the local processors weren't taking wild game anymore because
Yep.
of whatever FDA regulations.
Mhm.
We had that's a good point. So that, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about because like the CWD stuff too. We hunt the western part of the state where basically where the Wisconsin butts with the
Minnesota.
Mississippi,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and most of the better Airbnbs are in the Iowa side for whatever reason. There's like there's a ton of them. They're really great. And then for whatever reason on our side, we have like these dilapidated freaking trailer homes for Airbnbs. And I'm like, what I want to stay in the good one. Like we're old now. I don't want that anymore. But if we stay in Iowa, I don't suddenly like we're crossing state lines and it gets really confusing because we're hunting Wisconsin. So I'm like, can I
that's a
even
no-no.
bring a deer across the state? Like, what do I have to oh my gosh, too confusing. Fine, we'll stay in the Airbnb in Wisconsin. Damn it.
Yep.
You know, like because we can't actually figure it out. Because we don't want to break the law. Like I don't understand it well enough to know how to like navigate it. So then we just don't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think those the regulations only tend to get more and more complex, and it doesn't do anything for
It's
our
so
three
frustrating.
efforts, right?
I will sit down in a meeting room and I'm like, I'm going to make this simple because I'm a hunter, right? I don't want to read complicated regulations. And then you bring in an attorney, and then
Oh boy.
then you're like, okay, I guess we can't make this simple.
Dude, their
but we do our
superpower
best.
is poking holes in things.
Yeah, they're very good at it.
Or the
Yeah.
IT people. It's like the department of no. Like no is literally in technology. No,
Yeah.
it's right there. You can't
Very
do that.
relatable.
Oh my gosh.
If you had purchasing, you've got the trifecta right there of like.
But to go back to, I think I was asking about like the decline of numbers. So you're saying the data is presenting that is in fact happening, regardless of people coming into hunting through crossbow and so forth. Like we're still seeing a shrinking.
In the last
license
in the last 10 years, we've lost around 100,000 deer hunters in the state of Wisconsin, and our
Wow.
projections right
That's
now in
crazy.
the
They
next
all
10
died.
years, the next 10 years, we're
Actually,
projecting
I would be
another
curious, of
100,000.
those 100,000, how many can you match up to death certificates?
You probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
you probably could. But the more scary thing is that in the next 10 years, we're projected to lose another 100,000. And so that's why R3 is important, and all
And
these.
how
other
much is a hunting
facets-
license?
Well, it depends what you're purchasing, but a deer license I think is $24.
Okay, so if we lost 100,000 times, I'm doing math on the podcast live. That's a mistake. I should just stop till I've had. Hoping someone else can do that math on the back of the napkin, but
He's the
It
smart
should be
one.
2.4.
he's a smart one.
Yeah, 2.4 million.
Yeah.
that sounds
That
right.
has an impact.
Big time.
It just
Mhm.
does.
Yep. Big time.
Well, like you said earlier, like we're like so much of the wildlife program is funded by deer hunters because it's the bread and butter, right? South Dakota. I worked in South Dakota for a few years before coming here. Out there, pheasants. Pheasants is bread and butter.
Oh, for sure.
Everything is funded by pheasants. So a bad pheasant year and everything else suffers. I mean, deer is the big one here. You know, our bear program is actually interesting here and actually all across the country in that it's bucking the trend. interest in black bear hunting is bucking the trend. We're actually seeing growing interest all
Mhm.
across
It's
the country.
because of bear grease on meat eater.
I think it helps.
I'm
Absolutely.
assuming that
I
has
think
something to do with it.
right. Yeah. I think there's a number of things. These are the things I think about. Like a lot of it is, I think, growing opportunity. Like you said, you got a bear down here, right? Like there's bear populations growing across the country into new areas that deer hunters are getting interested in bear hunting. So they're starting to put in for preference points. They're starting to put in for tags. I think it's also usually a very family-oriented or group-oriented
Yeah.
activity, right? Because whether you're running baits or running dogs or whatever you're
There's more
doing, it's a
people
group.
involved. Yeah.
It's a group. You're also doing it in the summer and the early fall. Deer hunting is in November, right?
Yeah.
Largely speaking. So there's these other things which, I don't know, I think about the parallels between interest growing in one area and it's declining in other areas and why that might be. And I don't know, it kind of helps identify like what some of those barriers might be. And can we then tap into that in other ways?
Someone just Michael commented here on our live stream. Said he just bought my sportsman's license with the trout stamp over the weekend. There's also a lot of bears up north here, so he's up north. I forget where, but he had come to the trade show and said hi to us too, which was really cool.
Yeah, so the sportsman's is like a step down from the patrons.
Okay.
It's a group.
Way to go, Michael! You got the step down.
Yep.
Just kidding.
No, sportsman's great. I'm a patron license buyer, and I do it just for the ease because I don't want to have to click in like individual things.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you do save money by doing it that way.
I considered it. I don't know why I did it because I just don't know what I don't know. I don't do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
I keep getting invited to do more stuff, and I'm like, I just having that conversation with my wife. I'm like, can I go do another thing? She's gonna kill me. Like, I think she'll slit my throat if I.
I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay.
I've had that realization more and more too. Like, just eventually, there's hobbies that you just got to say no to. For me,
Yeah.
it's like cross country skiing. I live up north. Like everybody skis around me, and I'm just like, I've tried it a couple
Okay.
times. I am good. I'm officially uninterested.
I'll go make my syrup.
Yeah, let me make syrup. Let me do other
There you
things.
go.
Yeah.
Just- I'm out on
Said-
skis.
He's in Rice Lake and he's not that rich. All right, sounds good. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, because I've met quite a few people at that trade show, I think he works for Henry Arms.
We
Oh, cool.
thank you to Henry Arms. We actually just did a video with Henry Arms promoting what they do. So they're taxed. They're a manufacturer of firearms, right?
Kevin Robertson.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we actually had department staff go to Henry, shoot a video with them, and talk about what their work as a manufacturer in Wisconsin does for conservation. So even if you buy a rifle and go target shoot, you're benefiting conservation. It
Mhm.
goes in that federal tax, and the state of Wisconsin sees it.
So Nosler is a partner of ours. They're actually a presenting partner, and I forgot to say at the beginning, like I thought I would, because I suck.
Be kind to yourself.
That's the question. Begs the question why they partner with us. But they launched 2 years ago now the Whitetail Country round, which is a price point product for them because they're like trophy grade. They're more expensive and they're not as well known in the Midwest here, especially in Wisconsin, like primarily because they weren't on retail shelves, I don't think.
Mhm.
And so when they started talking with us and working with us, like it was a big push to like, we have a lot of Midwest. We're very price point conscious in the OKS
Mhm.
Hunter ecosystem. But that Whitetail Country round does really, really great. And so I think
It's also a
their
great round.
Yeah. And you were there. You were at their facility in Oregon.
Yeah.
We did our Blacktail hunt. I didn't get to go to that because I suck. But you get to take Derek and Greg, or not take, but you get to go with them.
Yeah. I mean, they took me.
Yeah.
I just followed them around for 4 days.
But I don't know. So that's a national thing, So I don't know how much of the sales that happen here in our state or D2C wise or whatever direct to consumer, how much that helps. I don't know.
You want to explain the formula?
Because there's a
The
tax
PR
thing, right?
formula?
I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm wondering, like, how much is their partnership through paying us? Our 1% goes back into at least WCLC. Like, there's some impact there.
Yeah, there's definitely
Mhm.
impact. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what the equation would be, but again, not to keep calling back to this conference, but they were talking about like Benelli, not to take away from
Oh,
the
no.
sponsor,
But that's Benelli's guns.
they're huge, right, and expensive.
Yep.
And they contribute $21.9 million a quarter into that federal tax fund,
Mhm.
which goes into conservation. I think there's $1.9 billion of PR funding annually across the nation that gets divvied up by each state. And so Nosler and other companies, they contribute towards that through that tax.
And it's actually just one, like That's what I was thinking with the formula. All that money goes to the federal government in the PR fund, and it's all there, and then it's redistributed back out.
Yeah, depending on how much public land we have, and then how many license dollars that.
So
or how
buying
many
a
licenses
license
we
is
sell.
actually like a double whammy because you get
So
more
even if you're not
PR
gonna
funding
hunt,
as well
do
as
you-
the actual license money.
So do you think? I mean, realistically, I ought to be buying the Patriot
patrons.
patrons license because I'm funding more things.
Yep.
Like
Effectively.
logically, does that add up? Or
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm just buying my deer tag. I'm paying for your guys' salary.
That's a fact.
In effect, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I know a few people have mentioned, I don't even hunt and I buy the patrons license.
Yeah.
You get a magazine, that DNR Natural Resources magazine in the mail.
I'm sure my dad reads it.
Yeah. But I mean, I fish, I bow hunt, I gun hunt, turkey hunt, pheasant, and waterfowl. That's primarily what I do. And that $165, I'm
You
good
turkey
to
hunt?
go.
Did you say turkey?
Yeah. Mhm.
I've been enjoying turkey hunting more and more.
That's
as the
coming
years
up.
have gone
It's
through.
coming up. They're out strutting.
I've been
ready for the
seeing them.
season.
I'm driving with my kids. Where were we going? We were driving somewhere. I was like, okay, guys, deer are still fine to call out, but we're after turkey right now.
Yep. Yep.
And so we said, turkey.
Yeah.
Like I scared the shit out of my wife driving because turkey, she
Yeah.
thought we were going to crash because I thought, no, it's just a turkey. I was just telling you the turkey.
This
there.
weekend is the youth hunt, turkey youth hunt.
It is
So,
this weekend.
yep.
We did it last year. We went up to Glenwood City. A buddy's got property up there, and so we hunted on his property. And his son did it. His son was 4, and he had a gun on a shotgun, or what was it, a 22 or something small, like a
410
single,
probably.
410,
maybe?
a single
Yeah.
shot,
I'm like,
410.
I don't want to hear 22 on a
No.
turkey.
Yeah,
It wasn't a
It's
22.
A 410 with a single shot.
Yeah.
And he had a reticle sight on there on a bipod.
That's
And his
exactly what I do with my son.
Shot it,
Yep.
and he did it. He killed it. I was like, dude, you freaking did it. So my son was there.
Yep.
He was, I think, just turned 4. Or no, what is he? No, he just turned 6, I think. Gosh, I don't know. I have a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old, so I can't keep track. But I brought my daughter and my son with.
You're hearing your pants around, so win. You got out the door.
But it was great. It was like a really good time. We were trying to plan a youth hunt with Washington County Land Conservancy and try and do some fun stuff, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition because like the clock is ticking and we have not landed on what we're going to do yet. But
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get out this weekend and get a bird. He hasn't gotten one yet, but he's only 7, so he shouldn't have one. But
you don't make it too easy.
yeah, I know.
You got to
I know.
suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can just you buy. What do you have to do for that to go youth turkey hunting? Like what tag you have to get?
So a
for your kid?
mentorship, and then I created a Go Wild account for him.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get a mentorship license, and then he has to buy the stamp and the permit as well.
Okay.
But the cool thing about the youth season is
The season doesn't
just 2
succumb
days.
to doesn't succumb to like the period and all that.
Not the youth hunt, no.
Okay.
But then if you don't utilize your permit this weekend, he can go during that week long whenever he drew, and then that is zone and time period
Got it.
specific.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So if I hear a lot of shotguns going off this weekend, that's what's going on.
Yeah,
Cool.
probably won't. Not a lot of people take advantage of it, but we do.
That's good.
It's hard. It's early.
Yeah.
It's not like the southern states are, their youth turkey was a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
but it's been 90 degrees down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But it's a very strong gateway, like because you can put a kid in a blind, like they're going to be jumbling around. My boys can't sit still to save their life.
Oh, it's
Literally,
tough.
they can't do it to save their life. Like if their life depended on it, we would die. And so to conceal some of that movement, keeps them a little bit warmer, get them out of the elements a little bit, and then you don't have to worry about scent control.
Yep.
Got to be still and quiet once they actually come in. But it's a really great thing. You can get more permission-based turkey hunts than you probably can
Look
for
at
deer
this
hunts.
cute
sure.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at this cute kid. Let us use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it's just a turkey. Yeah, you can kill a
Yeah.
turkey. Yeah.
But I'm lucky. We got private property in Marquette County, and that's where we go and got a cabin and
Awesome.
set up a blind not too far from the cabin. And anybody can, train your kid or your mentee however you think is best. But for me personally, it's like, if you're here and you want to get out, that's great. If you want to go back in, that's great. Last year we had a turkey gobbling right behind us. I'd shit you not, like 5 yards behind us, and it was just in brush, and it was a matter of time. But he wouldn't come out. He was just going back and forth. He had some hens, and like, we just got to be patient. It's going to happen. And he goes, "I'm hungry." I'm like, it's right
about to happen.
Yeah.
What do you
And
not
he's
understand?
He's like, "I want McDonald's." I'm like, if we leave, you're not going to get a turkey. That's okay. And so we did. We got up and left, and He was okay.
You
with
couldn't believe it.
but
You're like breaking my heart. Kid.
I did, but I'm not going to be the one who's forcing him out there. If he
Yeah.
wants to go, we're going to go.
It's a fine line as a dad. I feel like I want some of those forced memories a little bit. I want it to be like, remember that time you made me sit there and do that? I'm like, yeah. Well, I had to at least try to push you a little bit. You know?
Well, we push. Trust me, I didn't just immediately say, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I have a struggle, but I can't turn it off. We'll go on like a hike for morels or something, and I'm just going. Like, you guys better keep up. We're moving, we're going. And like next ridge. And eventually, like, the kids are tiring out. They're starting to complain. They're dwindling off. They're sitting, they're like refusing. And my wife's like, dude, we still got to go all the way back. They haven't eaten yet. What are you doing? I was like, that's right. I got to. All right. I guess we're going to find these damn mushrooms today, you know? Like, But I'm like, if we find one, the reward is going to be so exciting for them. Probably not. They're like, this is stupid, Dad. It's a mushroom. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Kids love scavenger
hunts.
hunts.
Shed hunt like 2 minutes outside my freaking across the street from my house.
That's crazy.
Cool.
Son's been bugging me. We got to go shed hunting.
My dad texted me this morning and said he saw one still holding.
They hold really late, especially down in southern Wisconsin. It's the healthier ones hold on longer later. They got good fat on them and not diseased and in their prime. They'll hold on really long.
Wow.
So we get in that misconception too of these antlerless only seasons. Like in December, we get criticized a lot for shooting shed bucks, which it can happen, sure, but really, really rare to have a buck shed in December and get harvested that way. Can happen. Never say never, like I said. But
yeah, of course, there's anomalies or you get your fringe cases. But yeah,
especially the deer up north, they'll shed sooner rather than the southern farmland deer.
Yeah.
It's still usually not in December.
What kind of okayest moments do you guys feel comfortable sharing on the show? You
What?
got one each.
Put them on the spot.
When
we asked ahead of time.
When I was introduced to this, your guys' podcast, I said, "Well, I'm going to start the worstest hunter because that's."
Did you hear about us from
Eric and Elizabeth? Yeah.
So just recently.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That was a really fun episode. Those guys.
Yeah. I don't know. Okayest. Kind of shared one before shooting that one and wounded and not finding it, but I don't know. I'd have to think.
I'm thinking.
And it doesn't even have to be like shot and didn't hit. It's like forgot release. We had a guy who shared, and he's a mature whitetail killer. He's a big dude. I'm blanking on his name right now. Just of course on the spot. I'm not gonna remember. But he's like, I got out of my car. I got back to my car after the scouting. It's middle of summer. I'm hotter than a dog, and I go to grab my drink, and it was piss.
Oh,
he's like, I drank my own hot piss, and I puked everywhere.
That's terrible.
I was like, dude, what?
Oh man,
that's tough to beat.
So like that's was it a hunt? Kinda.
Yeah,
it's definitely an okayest moment.
Yeah. All right, so I'm pretty. I don't know. I got into this waterfall hunting, but I'm a pretty deer hunter. But this one's a waterfall story. So that cabin that I have in Marquette County, my dad bought it primarily for waterfall hunting. About 110 acres of it is like wild rice. And so
cool.
There's a lot of ducks, and you cannot get in that marsh. It's pure muck, no bottom. So my dad bought an Argo, and that's how we get around out in the marsh. And
yeah, you could die in that, right? Like,
yeah,
you're not getting out.
It's legit dangerous. So you got to make sure your equipment's working right and all that. And my dad is. He's getting up there. So always making sure that he's trying to be safe as possible. And I go with him. I did not check anything this time. And we get out there and we're out in the marsh and get out in our spot and there's ducks everywhere. He turns it off and we're going to get in our blind and start hunting. I forgot something and wanted to start the Argo again and it wouldn't start. And this is not, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Of course.
In the muck. And
What even problem you solve your way out of that situation?
Ran out of gas. So I a little worried. I'm like, we're gonna have to, I don't know, get a helicopter in here or something. But I took off my chest waders, left them in the Argo, was in my socks, pants, and I'm literally army crawling, because the bed of rice, if you can stay on top of it, you can shimmy through 2 hours probably of doing that to get back to the cabin to then get a gas
for your life the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Too.
But this is my dad. I was thinking, if that son of a bitch is shooting ducks,
Yeah, he was. Why wouldn't you?
I know. And I'm turning around and he's got a cigar and I could just see the smoke going up. And I'm like, he's just sitting because he's old. He can't walk. He can't do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking maybe it's not the gas. I don't know. And so I get back and I get a
You
John
gotta figure out how
boat.
to get the gas out there.
Yeah.
too,
So we have a John boat and I put the thing
Like
a
a
gallon
mud
of
motor
gas
or
in there.
something.
No, pushing it.
Okay.
It was
A lot of manual labor here.
lot. This is why people don't want to duck hunt too, because that happens.
You gotta stay
A
wet.
lot.
You gotta stay dry and warm, and like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you get wet and cold, it's over.
Yeah.
So
Luckily, this was early in the season, so
Yeah.
it was pretty warm. But anyway, long story short, I got back to him, and I don't think I've ever been so pissed at my dad ever for getting stuck in the. I'm like, why did he put in gas? But it's my fault. Didn't have it. We got him the gas. It started. Didn't have to push him out, and we evacuated. But no ducks were harvested that day.
Oh,
But we
I was
can't-
really hoping he had a limit.
If he had a limit, I would have killed him. I'm like, I would have absolutely killed him. But we made it out with our lives, so that's good.
Holy crap!
That's good.
Yeah, that was quite the story. So check your gas tanks before you go out in the wild.
That kind of just makes me think of it's not even it's hunting related, I guess. But one of my favorite pictures I have is printed off from a duck hunting trip with my dad and my brother. I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's just a picture. I don't even know how it got taken, but we're on this. It's in South Dakota, where we got our little John boat, and my dad, obviously getting up there in age too, so he's relaxed. You know, he's sitting in the back of the John boat on the back seat. Like you can picture the side
Oh,
profile
yeah.
here. The front end of the boat's out, and I'm just walking behind him, pushing. I'm in like knee deep water, just pushing the boat along here, and it just cracks me up because the whole thing was just a disaster. Like there were no ducks around. It was a bright blue sunny day. Like we could easily just walk there, but we bring in the boat, and I don't know, it just cracks me up.
Your
to-
dad just sitting there
He's
nonchalant.
just
like,
he's just like we're doing it. Like
Enjoying
push
the
me,
ride.
push me. Like we could both be in the boat, and I could just be paddling, like whatever. But
it comes full circle. We have our own kids
yeah.
and we have our parent kids.
Yeah, I look forward to this a little bit. Like we as dads now, it's like man, you know how much stuff I've given up and also done for you as a little child and baby. Like, yeah, when I get older, you bet your ass you're pushing me. And I have no shame about it.
Yep.
I've earned this moment.
Yep.
Hopefully they're strong. Like that's what I'm banking on.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My dad has no shame in reminding me of that too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
this is payback.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I remember being we were fishing. I was fishing with a buddy of mine and my dad out on Big Muskego Lake, which is like a giant marshy lake, but there's like a bowl. So we navigate to this bowl, Bass's Bay, I think it's called, out in Muskego, and we had a great day of fishing. It was pretty awesome. Well, sun's going down, time to get back. Sun's going down, it's getting dark, and there's bogs and they move. So a bog had like moved, and like we got pretty confused about how we couldn't find the freaking entrance back to the boat ramp.
Yep.
Well, my dad had like some Bayliner boat. Like it's not a fishing boat. It was just like a boat that he also happened to use for fishing. At least I think it was a Bayliner. I don't remember if it was that one or a previous one. But all of a sudden the engine starts overheating. It's like this alarm's going off. My dad's like, grab the whatever. I don't even know what he's telling me to grab. And he's like, this boat ain't built for this shit. We're gonna get stuck out here all goddamn night. This bog in the mud. It's dark. And like, I was like, oh shit, but it's funny. I'm like, try not to bust up laughing. He's pissed.
It's funny now.
Oh yeah, like the quote: "This boat is not built for this shit." It's like seared into my mind because he's in full panic mode, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm a young dude. I don't care about this stuff. Like, oh, I'll figure it out. We figured it out. We got back. I don't know, but it got like sketchy for a second there. I didn't have to army crawl through a bunch of.
That was terrible.
But that lake felt like it's another dangerous one. I don't think there's a bottom. I think you jump out and you're getting gobbled up by mud.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, we're just gonna be sitting ducks out here. Like, what's gonna happen? You know,
Call the DNR wardens. They'll save you.
the engine's like overheating, and I mean, like the whole
Hopefully
thing's gonna
they
go
get there in
pretty long.
time.
It's crazy. Yeah, call it. Yeah, come get a helicopter.
Yeah. You don't have those.
Not anymore. Budget
Not
cuts.
Not anymore. Damn it.
We need those deer hunt licenses up again.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, any final thoughts worth leaving us with to like keep people engaged, get them involved? We talked a lot about like just go to the website, use the keyword search.
I'd say get
tool, but
involved. I mean,
anything
what's
else?
coming up
Even
for
like jobs too. I don't know. Like
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a supervisor, right? And I think one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that I do, is I hire staff. I get to hire great people like Randy, even though I didn't hire him. I inherited him.
You inherit me.
Fortunately didn't inherit a problem, but no, I hire staff, and so I enjoy mentoring. So if there's any dads out there or moms that are listening that have kids in college, feel free to email me, call,
Oh, that's a good
give
idea.
tips. I just actually met with a kid that's going to Point right now who's a freshman and was like, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I'm thinking about wildlife, and had a 30-minute Teams call with him, and I really enjoy doing that because that's how I got to where I
Yeah,
am.
that's awesome.
It's hard to picture what you do. What's a day in the life like? And it's not just that you're a warden. There's all sorts of things.
Yeah, there's some days I say all the time, I'm like, you can't make this shit up. Like, there's just some stuff that happens that you just like, I never thought I'd be dealing with this.
Yeah.
I mean, so the day in the life, we get that question a lot. The day in the life is, we never know what the day in our life is going to be, and that's why I love it so much.
That's cool. Right.
Something new every day, different issues. Sometimes you get trapped into some things you'd rather not be working on, but that's the beauty of it.
I'm
It
sure.
changes. It changes, right?
Like our weather.
Yeah, it is honestly like that. So when Randy and I were in the thick of, well, Randy's the main author of our wolf management plan, and I was just I call it the useless supervisor, helping through the steps of policy and getting it approved and all that. But it's wolves, right? So it's a lightning rod of a project. And at that same time, we were having issues with beaver, like we talked about earlier. And I had spent more time on beaver management and the public concerns around that than I was with wolves. And so you might think one day, oh, I got to help Randy review 20 pages of this plan, and then you get a phone call from someone about, I'm pissed off about this beaver flooding or whatever, and your day all of a sudden changes, or you get an email from the secretary's office that's like, drop everything you're doing and we're working on this now. But I love it. It's incredibly fast paced. It's different every day. Like I said, I got into this to handle wildlife. I did that out in the field for 10 years or so. And then I just kind of elevated more towards statewide impact and policies, and it's the same subject, you're just doing it a little bit differently. And so I really enjoy coaching, mentoring younger people, professionals that are getting in the field. I said earlier that we're cutting LTE positions, but we are a very creative agency, and this budget stuff will be short term, and we will figure this out one way or another.
Yeah,
if anything is guaranteed, it's that it's going to change.
Good point.
And so don't listen to what I said about, we're in dire times right now. When I was in college, I had professors telling me, don't get into natural resources. A, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to be able to get jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to move all over the country. It's all nonsense. If that's what you want to do, stick to it, go for it, get educated, get your degree. And I always say it's not what you know, but who you know. And so that's why I like to put my name out there, get people's foot in the door. That's what people did for me. I tried to work outside of the state, tried to get different experiences. I interviewed a few. Nobody wanted me. Poor me. But I got my foot in the door as an intern in 2010 with the DNR here, and never looked back. I just moved positions. I don't have a master's degree. Randy and I get in fights about this all the time because he has a master's degree. I don't think you need
Just
it.
more debt.
Yeah, that's what I say. And
It's
he
true
loses
story,
the argument because I'm his boss.
Right. You're right. You're right again.
Exactly.
Just keep doing that.
Yeah. So not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
Get out there, volunteer, get your foot in the door, and don't let anyone discourage you. Especially someone like me saying we're in dire times. So
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, similar backstory.
And we would really
like-
listen to what Randy has to say because he has a master's degree.
Yeah, exactly. You need
Bow
math?
down.
I got some math. You need anything done?
we don't need statistics.
No, I mean, actually, that's like for any college individuals listening, like it is very good advice. It's very easy if you're in this field to think you have to get a master's, you have to get a PhD. Like there's a place for those. Yeah, there's a place for them, but not every job requires them. And it's really more about what do you actually want to do. And like the diversity of jobs and the conservation, wildlife, whatever field you want to call it, it's like wildly diverse, whether it's wardens or research staff or managers or whatever. So there's tons of different avenues you can get down. So don't run out and get a PhD, and then start applying for jobs. Like that's not the right way to go. But
Does the DNR help pay for that if you're working towards something that they offer if you're already there or no?
No.
no.
No. Didn't you catch my earlier part of the podcast? We're a little tight.
I wish it'd be great. but-
I mean, we don't pay for it, but as an example, I've got an LTE.
Mhm.
I keep calling them LTEs. It's just common acronym for us, an employee. So they're limited term employees. However, as long as we can fund it, we renew them every year. So it's a full-time job. They just don't get the statewide benefits that full-time employees get, like Randy and I. But anyway, so she has an interest in getting her master's, and she had approached me like, can I get my master's at the same time? And the answer is yes. You just have to work with your supervisor and figure that out. So she's getting her master's degree from UW-Madison and still employed with us. Her work that she does for them is not on the clock. She doesn't get paid by us, but we're incredibly flexible agency. We're allowed to we're flexible, right? I mean, it's very family friendly.
That's good to hear.
Kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get rich, but you're gonna love your job and
Yeah.
you're gonna love working for us. And
Even on the worst days, it's still better than many jobs.
And getting rich, like getting rich or making a livable wage, like I get asked a lot about like people that want to get into this category through podcasting and creating or influencing or all of that stuff, both professionally and through this entity here. And like, I took a pay cut to get into this realm because I was in IT before, and that paid really, really well. It was a significant pay cut, but somewhere along the lines, I decided to like reduce some of the things that are like weighing on my lifestyle that I pay for, because I wanted to chase happiness and not dollars. And once you realize dollars don't equal happiness, like if you want to go and be in the woods as part of your job, and that's going to fulfill your soul and make you happy,
For
like,
sure.
do that thing. Like you might not need to make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $300,000 a year to feel happy. Like you could maybe be really happy off of 60, you know? But then you got to map or match your lifestyle to that income bracket. And it's maybe that's easier said than done these days. Like,
no, it's still easy to do. I mean, you can be happy living in a truck, driving around the country. I mean,
unless it's raining, which it's always raining.
Man, that's a different story.
There's the whole thing with this guy with rain.
Yeah,
he's social media famous for driving. Like,
yeah,
it's not raining right now, Keegan.
I really watched the weather for the last week and a half.
I can't even believe it, man.
Yeah, and two, I mean, not getting rich is one thing, but I mean, Randy, we're not poor.
Yeah, right. Like you're not.
You should make a good living doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Good living wage, but I just say that to be like, it doesn't. Money doesn't have to be the goal here either.
Yeah,
right.
In general, like you can manage your finances and you can do all sorts of things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. No, thanks guys for being here and taking the long drive down. It means a lot.
It's a good time.
Hopefully there's some good bars in the area because we couldn't let you guys drink on the job. You guys would walk out and take those shirts off. Like, we're wearing this badge.
We're flexible. We're not that flexible.
I'm like, what? 0 for 3 for getting a DNR to drink on our podcast.
Oh,
Good job, DNR.
If you go 1 for 4, let me know who it was.
You invite my supervisor to the show. So
sorry. Fun police.
So funny. We did a podcast a couple summers back with someone, and I think it was a DNR. I don't remember if he drank or not, but the rest of us got trashed. And I don't know. They were like, "Hey, do you want to post this podcast?" I was like, "You can post it. I'm not posting that one." Like, we were talking about killing kangaroos. It got so off track. It was wild.
There's a kangaroo in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. Believe it or not.
Kidding me?
No.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's
serious.
weird. That's the second time
Can't make this shit up.
Wow.
Told you. Yeah. No, it escaped from a petting zoo, I think.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
They look like jacked up. Why does a kangaroo look like it's like taking
They're
steroids?
pure muscle, man.
What is the deal there? It's scary MFers.
Yeah, I wouldn't fight one.
No, I would lose. I'll never forget that video on the internet where that dude, the kangaroo had the dog in the headlock and the dude jacked him in the face. Do you remember this?
It's a great video.
It was one of the best videos on the internet at that time.
Yeah.
Like, can we go back to that era of internet videos? Like, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because like, what else do you do in that situation?
I don't know.
Like, my dog, I'm just gonna box it.
I just love the surprised look on the kangaroo's face.
Like,
He's like,
gosh, no one's ever done that to me before. I feel like a lot of people need that moment in their life.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, all right. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
For our
Yeah.
listeners,
Thank
hopefully
you.
you find some value in this episode. And Keegan, thanks for being here today.
Yeah. Glad I could
Awesome.
stop by.
What a great cameo.